This week on NintenDomain, we have special guest Janet to come by and talk about Night in the Woods. We got a good debate for you.
I slammed down them sweet bass notes for Space Dragon.
I got more Mario cereal.
Oh, God. When will it end?
Did you really?
Welcome to NintenDomain, episode 107. We're your hosts. I'm Trey. Apparently, I don't know which teams are in the Super Bowl, Johnson.
I'm Jeremy, still waiting for my HD Gamecube adapter, Mikowski.
All day,
I'm John,
every day.
going to E3 knitter.
Woo! Do it.
Yeah,
So are you?
Dead.
I am. Yes. Yeah, so the tickets go on sale Monday, February 12th at 9 a.m. Pacific. Yes, you go on the E3 website and the registration spot, and hopefully the tickets will be up there for sale Monday at 9 a.m. I'll be there waiting.
And that's, okay. So this Monday, 9 a.m. That's
Pacific.
what, 11 a.m.? Is that your time?
My time. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
11 a.m.
Pacific is
Central.
your time. Okay, so it's 11 a.m. Central.
1 p.m.
Right.
Our Central.
Right.
And,
So the first 1,000 tickets are at $150. After 1,000 tickets, they're going for $250.
I'll check if I'm up on Monday. I have a work party to go to Sunday and Sunday night, and I might be like super hungover, but I'll try to get up and and check it out. But if I can get a hold of a 1:30 one, I might just do it and then try to figure out how to get there later.
150, not 130.
150,
but
yeah, that's what I meant.
Jeremy and I were talking during the break, and I think what you should do is just try to buy the ticket regardless. If you don't end up going,
Oh, and sell it if I don't
you're all the way
go.
out in
Yeah.
Illinois, just sell it.
Silver Prof.
Good idea. Yeah,
Sell
you're
it.
right.
Or to John.
Or to me.
Face
So I
value.
can have all the tickets.
So you
Well,
can
no, sell it to him as face value if he doesn't get it.
so you can go in multiple times. You can go in and tear the ticket up and leave and come in again with another ticket. That's what
That's
you can
true.
do. Anyway, we're here again to bring you all the Nintendo news and all the fun stuff that we tell you about games and our fun experiences with games. Which there was one at the very beginning that Scott John said in the intro that we all want to know about. You know, we always start the episode off talking about what we bought this week. Let's start with John and his new collection of cereal. How much more cereal did you buy?
One box. Just one.
What?
Holy shit!
50 wasn't
Yes.
enough? Like, how don't you have like boxes and boxes of them? I thought.
I have a full case, and then I have 3 more full boxes on top of that.
Can I tell you a secret
Yeah.
about Mario cereal?
What's up? Sure.
I haven't eaten any of it since I ate it on the show. that's my Mario cereal secret. So it's
Yeah, pretty good reason.
It's
I
probably
finished my box.
It's probably already stale and gross. But I did buy 4 boxes for our guest, which will be on the show later, to talk about her opinions on Night in the Woods, Janet Garcia. So
The
I have
reason I
seen
bought
some.
one more box is because I was actually grocery shopping at my usual grocery store, and I happened to find it there. So I figured I had to buy one more to mark the occasion of finding one without expressly going out to look for it.
Oh yeah, that's how I found mine too. I just went to Jewel and I was like, I should check the cereal aisle, and then there were 5 there, and I bought 4, and another guy bought another one. And I felt kind of bad because I got 4 and he only got 1. But then I walked down to the frozen aisle and there was like 60 there in like a middle thing, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's a ton of them there. I'm like, yeah.
Did you pause for reflection?
Pause to look at the 60 there.
Well, it was a frozen aisle.
Do you reflect in the frozen aisle? Yes, I did. No, I don't know. I don't know what you mean, man. I don't know your crazy lyrics over there. But yeah, so you have now lots of boxes of cereal, is what you're saying.
I have now 14 boxes of cereal. Yep.
Yeah,
And that's it.
Do you know more? You're not buying any more after that?
No more. That's it.
No.
I wanted to buy one more just to mark the occasion of finding it out in the wild.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah, that's it. No more.
that's what you say now. You're gonna fall into the amiibo.
Why is
land.
it all out there in L.A.?
It's here too. It's in Chicago.
I haven't seen it here in Champaign.
Yeah. I'm surprised you haven't. It's just keep checking, I guess. Maybe eventually you'll find.
I keep checking.
Yeah, that's all I can say. I don't know the ways of this serial travel. I don't know how it gets to. I think it just magically shows up there somehow. Mario just like pops in. The pipe comes out of the ground. He jumps out of the pipe, and he's like here, and then he like has a bunch of boxes of cereal, and that's what it is. Then he goes back into the pipe. He's like, it's a here, take it. I make it out to Power Stars. But it's half poisonous. Eat it. All that stuff. Yeah. Or maybe Power Moons now. He's like, I plugged like an AC power adapter into it. Now you got like a bunch of volts in your cereal, whatever. But yeah, I'm glad you're still getting that shit over there. Did you buy anything else game wise this week?
Anything else this week? No, nothing else game wise.
Nothing piqued your interest.
Yeah, no, I'm Night in the Woods. Saving up for the E3 ticket. So. Well,
the E3 ticket we can't give impressions of. It'd be like, well, I got the ticket, like the corners were nice and flat, but I didn't like the graphics on it. It just didn't look good enough. I don't know.
The graphics on that ticket sucked.
Yeah. Seriously. So you haven't gotten your HDMI cable? Did you think you'd actually get it, Jeremy, by now?
I hoped I was on the Elite first because he kept sending me emails, and eventually I was like, I'm doing a YouTube video about this shit. So I thought he'd like promote me to the first.
Yeah.
Just in case,
Oh, you told me you were going to record it. Yeah.
That's wishful thinking.
I was hoping. Yeah. I was hoping that you made.
He said I would get a tracking number when it was sent. So that hasn't happened yet.
I was hoping that you're saying that you told him like, if you don't send it to me, I'm going to do a YouTube video about how you suck about sending stuff. It's just going to be you in front of the camera being like, he didn't send me a cable, so fuck that guy.
That actually might work. I just don't want to be that guy.
I got the $50 equivalent of the HDMI cable. Well, I got the Wii. I got all that shit hooked up. I got the Wii.
Yeah, the component cable?
Yeah, the Wii component cable. And well, basically I piecemealed it together. I bought I think I said this last week, but I got a Wii by itself for $30. I bought a power cord for like $7, and I bought a component cable for $10. So I piecemealed it together for that. But I haven't recorded anything with it yet, but I just got it set up today. So I'll record a Skies of Arcadia thing, I'm sure. I put it up and see if it looks any better. But it's in 480p now. So
how far are you at Skies? Are you still working on your series?
I'm the last Skies of Arcadia. I would be on 6 now. I think the last one I put up was 5. But I'm at the beginning of the second temple of Skies of Arcadia.
How many temples are there?
So that would be the green crystal, the green moon, or whatever. I think there's like 5 or 6.
Is there 4? Oh, 5 or 6.
I don't know. I remember the game being incredibly long, so I think I kind of screwed myself by saying that I was going to play through the whole game in video form, because I think it's like a 100-hour game, if I remember correctly. So,
I mean, if it's a 20-part game, that's fine.
But speaking of my retro plays, I decided to play an old football game called NFL Blitz on 64 for the Super Bowl Sunday, which I absolutely love that game. That game is awesome. That's probably my second favorite football game under Tecmo Bowl. I think Tecmo Bowl is still my favorite. But
wait, over that game we played at the MGS?
Oh yeah, the Atari, MGC. Whatever it is, the original. I like that one, but I'm talking about console games. That's an arcade football game. But anyway, I was like, I'm gonna make this video of the Super Bowl teams going at it. I'm gonna be like, this is the big Super Bowl prediction. And I put the wrong teams in there because I'm a fucking idiot. I put
both the wrong teams.
No, I put the Philadelphia Eagles versus the New Orleans Saints, and I did it twice, which is even worse. I did it 2 fucking times because I was like, so NFL Blitz, you can't if you want to play against a computer, you can't pick what team the computer is, so you kind of pretty much have to keep selecting arcade mode until it hits the team that you want to play. So I just did that. I just kept doing it and quitting if it wasn't, New England Patriots. But I guess I forgot. I confused New Orleans with New England. And I did it 2 times. I streamed on Twitch one time, with the regular game settings where it's $2 where it's 2-minute periods. So it was a 15-minute game. And then I did it again with 6-minute periods with the Saints. But the Saints both times. And I totally talked about, this being the game and all that, and I posted it on YouTube, so you can totally go there and make fun of me and all that. But nobody commented about it. But I think it's kind of funny that, and I didn't realize it until I was watching the Super Bowl, because I kept saying the Saints, and Jess was like, "Why are you saying the Saints?" And I'm like, they're not playing? And he's like, no, the Patriots. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And I'm like,
Very different.
I'm like, I think I did my stream about the Saints. And then I looked and I was like, maybe I got it right on the other one. I'm like, maybe I got it on Twitch. And I looked on Twitch and I'm like, oh God, I got it wrong both times. Like I feel such a dumb sports person, which I am. So I don't really watch sports, but yeah, it was pretty funny. Even though I did do a stream on Twitch. I didn't put it on YouTube, but I did a stream where I just tried to just get to the Super Bowl, but I sucked. But I lost every fucking game that I played, so I didn't. I lost 7 games as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But it did get to the Eagles finally on that, and some guy who was watching it asked me who was going to win, and I said the Eagles. So I was right in that aspect, but not in any other aspect. But yeah, still watch my streams, please. That's just one time that I screwed up. Seriously. But yeah, I felt pretty silly that I put the Saints on there. But New Orleans, New England, there's 2 words. I get confused sometimes. Shows how much I watch. I do that football thing or watch sports and all that stuff.
Well, you might be safe because I wonder if maybe the Venn diagram of people who watch Twitch and the people who would watch the Super Bowl, maybe it doesn't really cross that much.
I don't know. I think the guys who are watching my NFL Blitz stream talked about the Super Bowl on the comments, so I don't know. Like that guy thought I was crazy because I said the Philadelphia Eagles were going to win. Little did he know they won. Anyway, enough sports talk. I know you're not here to listen to us talk about sports games, even though NFL Blitz is a fun sports game. But did you buy any games this week? Well, I know Jeremy and we bought Night in the Woods, which we will talk about in great detail later. But did you get anything else other than that, Jeremy, this week?
Nope.
I got a couple things.
What'd you get?
I went to Jess and I we had an engagement vacation and went to Grand Rapids, Michigan for a while, and
engagement,
something like that. Engagation, I don't know. But I found a used video game place in Grand Rapids called Vidiots. I actually tried to go to a place called Game Changer, and I found out that it had closed a week before we got there. It closed January 31st forever. So, and I found their blog, and I was like, what the fuck happened? They're supposed to be open. And they closed because of whatever reason. It said personal issues is what it said, but yeah.
Their name was Game Changer?
Yeah, the name of the place was Game Changer, and now it doesn't exist.
What a good name for a reused game store.
But both of these places in Grand Rapids were super hole in the wall, no parking lot. They're in somebody's house pretty much that's has no furniture or whatever. So it was cool. I found these really cool hole in the walls. And I bought this amiibo dude from Zelda. I bought a Daruk for $9 opened. I thought that was cool. So I got another amiibo finally.
His protection is now ready to roll.
Yeah, big old... it's nice to have. They had all of them. They had all the other champions. And I thought about getting the fish head guy, but they were selling it for $13, and I didn't want to pay that much for him. So I just got Daruk. But I got I'll go from least expensive to most expensive. How about this? The first thing I got ECW Hardcore Wrestling for $2 on Nintendo 64, which I remember not being a good game at all, but I like ECW, and I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll play that game again and see how bad it is. So I got that game for 64. I also got War Gods, which was another game that's not very good. I got that for $4 for 64, which I remember enjoying it when it came out. So I'm going to do streams of all this so you get to see all this shit. But as a better game, I got WWF No Mercy. So now the circle is complete on my Aki wrestling games. Now I have all of the 64 games. This is the only one I didn't have, was the final WWF game.
Very nice.
So I got that.
Did you ever have that one?
No, I never had that one. That's the one I didn't buy. I did not buy that one.
You paid good money for that one.
I bought it for $14. I thought that seemed like a decent deal to me. And the big one I got, or the one I spent the most on, was Resident Evil 2 for Nintendo 64, which was a game that I had, and I lent it to my brother-in-law, and I don't know if he lost it or what happened to it. I asked him about it, and he said he didn't remember having it, so I just bought it again. And I tried
that game too. That game was remarkable for the FMV.
Yeah, I really wanted to
a cartridge. Yeah,
I really wanted to play it
squeeze
again.
All the FMV onto a cartridge.
Yeah, I really wanted to play it again just because I had such good memories of it, because it was because it had FMV on a 64 cartridge, and being a 64 guy, not having a PlayStation, that's kind of what I missed out on. They finally got it in there. Apparently, Factor 5 helped them get get all the sounds on there and do all the audio and all that. So I just got home today from Michigan. I went and like tested out all these games on the 64, and man, let me tell you, that FMV, it looks bad.
Yeah,
it looks
grainy as hell.
It looks
bad even back then.
It's like what, like 20p or something like that, or 20i. Like it looks like those little tiny movies that you used to download in the 90s from IGN. Like it looks like that, pretty much, but blown up into
those
TV.
in your giant TV.
And I'm playing this on a tube TV. Just to let you know. So it looks better than it would if it was on an HD TV. But still, it's super grainy, and it looks bad. But the actual, like, the part where you walk around as the character looks better. It was somebody's game, so, like, they already had loaded. So I just, like, loaded up Jill real quick and just kind of walked around a little bit. And I thought that looked okay. But, yeah, I can't wait to play that again, because the copy that I had, I played it all the way to the last guy. And I ran out of fucking ammo at the last guy, which is like what I do pretty much for every fucking Resident Evil game that I don't beat. I get all the way to the last fucking dude, and I don't have enough ammo to beat him. The same thing happened to me in Resident Evil Revelations 1 on 3DS. I got all the way to the last fucking dude, then I used every single piece of ammo that I had, and he doesn't die. And now I'm just stuck with a knife, and I get killed. So maybe I can get through it and not have that happen again. That's like one thing that would always annoy me about Resident Evil. I like Resident Evil, but I remember that was Jeremy would have trouble with that too. Like whenever, that was always a pet peeve of mine. It's just running out of resources at the end of the game, because you use too much, because you run into a bunch of other fucking zombies before you fought the final boss, Yeah.
I had a similar problem with Resident Evil Code Veronica on Dreamcast, which was a 2-disc game. Mm-hmm. And I had saved, like right in the middle, basically right before the end of the first disc, you fought the tyrant on an airplane, whatever.
Yeah,
I made the mistake of saving with like a knife and 3 bullets.
Yeah. Over your other save? Like you had nothing to go back to?
I couldn't get past it. I couldn't get past it for the longest time. And finally, I just like put the pedal to the metal. I white knuckled it, and I actually beat the tyrant. Yes, I finally beat the tyrant after like months. Then I went to go put in the second disc, and the second disc was scratched.
Oh, man.
Like, oh, this sucks.
So the second disc never loaded. That sucks.
Second disc never loaded.
Yeah, that's awful. That's like the worst thing you could probably say for that. It's like, and it never worked.
Yep.
Yeah. But I didn't find any sort of cool Game Boys or anything like that at this place. This place was called Vidiots, which I thought was cool because my favorite Ren and Stimpy...
Like the Ren and Stimpy game.
Yeah, so I was going to say, my favorite Ren and Stimpy game on Super Nintendo was Vidiots, which I
should... Was it for sale there?
I forgot to look for it, honestly. After I got there was so much shit there that I got distracted. But I wanted to look for it, and I forgot until... I ended up buying all this other shit. I bought all these 64 games that were cheap, that I thought were cheap enough, so... I felt like I'd spent enough, but I should have looked for that video. I could probably get it for cheap on eBay. I don't think anybody cares about that game other than me. So, see if I can still play through the whole game because it's one of those games that I just practiced until I could play through the whole thing, even though it's like stupidly hard and all that. But yeah, those are my purchases for the week.
That's cool. Like finding random game stores.
Yeah, they were all like super tiny, and I know John's from Michigan, so Grand Rapids is kind of like my experience from it was most of the places we went to didn't have parking lots, so you have to like try to find places to park like on the street.
On the street, yeah.
And like nothing's plowed there either. Like it's all like way snowier than it is here. And apparently they're having a snowstorm for like a whole week up there. We left like right as it was starting, but yeah, everything was like super snowy, and it's kind of hard to find parking. And I was thinking like going to this game store, and there were like actually 2 other people that were in there when we got there and came in like as we were there, and I was kind of thinking like, what kind of foot traffic do you get here? Because you have no parking lot. You have you can't park in the street in front of the place. You have to go around the corner a few times to find somewhere to park. It's like, how do you stay in business? Or do you live upstairs? Maybe you do. I don't know. Because it's like a house that has games in it, with like carpeted floor and all that. But it's cool.
I imagine a lot of those places do their business on eBay and sell things online. And
yeah.
In addition to the retail.
I would say so too.
Yeah, because we went to an antique store and the lady there was saying that she sold most of her stuff online. So that's probably much the only way to stay in business for that type of thing, But I don't know, maybe
they do like consignment stores that are just open during like the summer and shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these were open.
But all that stuff
it was open in the winter
online too.
Yeah, but it's always cool to find video game stores.
Yeah.
That you didn't know about. talk about the news. Is there any news for this week that you guys know of? A whole lot. I mean, I know there's like you mentioned earlier there's the Mario movie news. Like now it's official that they're with Illumination, right? That's what they're called.
Yeah, now it's official. You know, what was it, June or something? It was reported by the Wall Street Journal as a rumor that Mario movie was going to happen. And last week it became official. Nintendo announced Mario is going to be in the movie by Illumination, the animation studio that did Minions.
And Miyamoto's a producer on it, which I think that's pretty cool.
Miyamoto's a producer, yeah.
I remember seeing that.
I think that's a good sign. I think he'll be pretty involved. I think he'll be pretty heavily involved, like maybe even to the point of taking the time off of doing other work for Nintendo. Like, this is very important for them.
Well, you remember,
and it has to go right.
I mean,
it does.
I was gonna say, like, Miyamoto, like, he kind of dabbled in. You remember, like, his Wind Waker movies that he made, like when the HD re-release came out for Wii U? They were like little tiny movies of Link crawling around and stuff. And he also did all those Pikmin movies that you could like watch on your 3DS. So
I never saw the Wind Waker ones, but I remember the Pikmin ones. Yeah,
yeah, he did Wind Waker ones too. Do you remember those, right, Jeremy? Like when they did the re-release. Yeah, they were just like little.
They were
30-second
exclusives.
ones. Yeah, they're like 30-second ones that you could see of him like crawling around or just like a little. Yeah, it was like the Pikmin ones. But I mean, I'm sure Miyamoto's kind of wanting to get into it. So yeah, I think he's going to be involved for sure in this. Definitely.
I don't think it's just going to be like a advisory role or something like that. I think he will be a like capital P producer on this movie. He's
going to upend the table on it and be like, "What?
Yep.
You want him to do that? No." Even though, like, like you could bring up like Mario plus Rabbids, where they kind of let them do whatever with him and guns and all that. So who knows?
Yeah, there's more at stake here with Mario than Mario plus Rabbids, though. Like this movie is going to go to the mainstream audience, people who don't play games. It's going to be a representation of the company for years and years to come as movies. Movies have a life of their own and longevity to them. So I've heard people make that same comparison about, Mario versus Rabbids and whatever. Mario versus Rabbids, the worst that would have happened is it would have been an okay game and, lost to the dustbin of history.
Yeah. I mean, it can't be
They've already had a bad Mario movie and it's been a stain on them for 25 years, They don't want to do that again. They can't do that again.
I mean, Mario plus Rabbids would just go the way of Mario and Sonic at the Olympics, pretty much, right?
Exactly.
Where it's just like there's a bunch of them. Some people like them. Some people don't care. Whatever. So yeah, I would think that they want to put a lot into it. There's a Sonic the Hedgehog movie also in development.
Yes.
Right? I hope they come out on the same day.
Animation live action.
Wow, that sounds like a terrible idea.
Right, like they're going to do the feature film version of Sonic kissing that girl from Sonic 06.
Yeah. They should, you know what they should do for the Mario movie? They should do the same thing and like make New Donk City people like real. And he's just like running around and jumping on their head and throwing his hat at them. And that'll be the movie. Be the whole thing.
I'm still not on board for the New Donk City thing.
With everybody being different sized and all that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm still not on board for it. Game was great, but nope. No thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, Mario. Well, Mario's been in the Mushroom Kingdom so long that his body has become warped, and he's not a real person anymore. Now he's a crazy, weird little cartoon thing. He's not real anymore. He's no longer the Italian that he thought he was. I mean, I'm looking at him right now in the back of your room here.
Brooklyn is gone.
He does not look like a person at all.
Not at all.
Brooklyn has disappeared.
Me, no. So I'm a person. That's not him.
Yeah, he's not. He's a cartoon character from his time in the Mushroom Kingdom. That's what happened. There's a new Brawl Out patch out for anybody, for like the two people who still play that game. I mean, I definitely I haven't played it since the stream, so. But maybe if they fix the online stuff and added some characters that were cool in there, maybe it's worth playing. I don't know. I just the only reason I saw it was it just showed up when I turned the system on. But I mean, the Dragon Quest Builders comes out on Friday. That's a game I already cool. Pre-purchased it, so it just needs to come out and then I'll play it. I don't know.
There's a Rocket League patch coming out, which is supposed to be out today. There's a Rocket League patch.
Yeah.
Which they announced on their Facebook page. It was supposed to come out today.
What does that do?
And it's going to allow for cross-platform team making.
Oh, okay.
So not only can I play against somebody on the Xbox, I can also have them join my team. That's one of the things. I don't know what else is going to be added to it.
Probably more explosions when you get a goal, right? Some sort of
5 explosions now.
Some other variation of explosions. Well, they have like bats that come out of your goal and like gift boxes. Now there's going to be something else. But there's not a whole lot of games coming out for the week. But are you guys interested in any of these? I don't even think Maybe that Disc Jam game. That game looks pretty hilarious. Not like a game.
I kind of want to try the Metroidvania where you can't walk.
Which one's that?
Diadora.
Oh, that one's out already.
Diarrhea.
Oh yeah, that one came out this week. You're talking about Dandara?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that game kind of looked like another like Celeste type game to me. Because aren't you like jumping from one thing to another? I don't know. That's kind of what I got from it. People seem to be liking it though, and it's $15. You know, it's that ideal price.
It's that magic price.
Yeah, you should try it out. I don't know. It's Metroidvania. Can't be that bad. Well, Pool Arena came out. That was another one that came out of nowhere. Another like a pool game. By the way, I heard that tennis game that came out for $8 is like the worst game on the Switch right now. So be happy that you didn't get games? It. Yeah, I mean, I figured it was trash when it kind of showed up out of nowhere, and it's like, here's a tennis game right before.
It's just called tennis.
It's just called tennis, and it came out like right after they announced like the Aces game. It was pretty much like, hey, me too, I can do it. So
luckily, I never got it.
Yeah. But as far as, I mean, aside from that, there's like another point-and-clicky game on there, Dark Side Detective. There's like some other shit. Nothing like super interesting, I don't think. But there was thing that was added to the coming soon. I saw that, and I don't know if this is like an official whatever, but Pac-Man Champion Edition 2 has a release date on here. It's on here.
Really?
It's on here for February 22nd, and it's priced at $19.99. So I'll probably end up checking that game out. I had a lot of fun with the first one on PlayStation 3. It was a PlayStation Plus
I've only
game,
played the first one,
so I got it for free. And Bayonetta 1 and 2 are on there as well, which the pricing is weird on those. Like Bayonetta 2 is selling for $50 now, and Bayonetta 1 is $30. So you can't. There's no. It's not like a Resident Evil 1 and 2 where you can get like one for $20 and one for where you can get like two for $40 or anything like that. It's weird that it's like $80 where you could get both of them for cheaper on Wii U. So I don't know, but that comes out next week. We'll see. Is anybody planning on getting either of those?
I might play Bayonetta 2. I played Bayonetta 1 on X360 already.
Not for $30.
But Bayonetta 2 for $50? That's probably too much.
That's definitely too much.
It's kind of pricey.
Especially since Bayonetta 2 is like a 5-year-old game now? I mean, I feel like that game came out like kind of towards the beginning of the Wii U. I mean, I bought it during it was right after a buy two get one free thing at Target. And I had just bought, it was around the time of Hyrule Warriors. Like they both came out at the same time. So that had to have been like at least like 4 years ago, I think. Maybe 3 at least. But that's like,
I'd say about 3.
I guess at least they're not releasing it at 60, right? Like a lot of the, like they're doing with a lot of these games. But still, I think 50 is a little bit high for Bayonetta 2, especially since you can get it for like $20 on the Wii U now. But I mean, that's kind of like, you can get Doom for like $5 probably on PS4.
If they had it as a package for 1 and 2 for $40, I'd consider that. I think that's worth it.
Yeah, but I think that's a better deal. But
especially considering they're trying to do this to promote Bayonetta 3.
Yeah, which is coming out, I don't know when.
Yeah, like who's going to spend what in total? That would be like $140 on Bayonetta.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think they're just really itching for the money that they didn't make from the Wii U release.
I guess
So Jeremy has his Bayonetta amiibo there. You'll have to actually now. I think you have to get 2 because of that. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. 2's cool. 2's cool. It's a lot like 1. It's just like bigger in scope. You know, I never finished 2, so I'll probably. I thought about maybe doing a stream of Wii U and just try to make it all the way through 2. Try to just beat it just from where I'm at. Just try to, because I feel like I'm somewhere close to the ending. I don't know. The stories in those games like really don't make a whole lot of sense, so it's kind of hard to figure out where you're at and where you're going. You know, because a lot of it's kind of weird, devil angel gibberish anyway.
Yeah, it was like angels and stuff, I remember.
Yeah, it's like, here's a huge thing that you kill, and there's another thing, and she's like, oh, Cheshire, don't go over by that thing, and then she kills another thing with her feet. It's basically how those games go. I mean, it's really not about the story at all. It's all about, like, racking up combos and dodging and doing cool combos and shit like that. But yeah, is there any other news that you can think of that you guys want to talk about before we get to our topic of the week?
Can't think of anything.
I mean, I have an interesting story about, my Switch that I can talk about real quick. I found out that so on our vacation, I found out that the dock will only work with the Nintendo plug, with the $30 Nintendo plug. So I had to go get my third Nintendo plug for vacation, which sucks. Because you can't use, apparently for the Nintendo one, you can't use like any of the, you can't use any USB cable for it, which I thought you could, just because it fits in there. But so I figured that out. That sucked. So I had to buy another giant brick charger to use it on the TV and all that.
Why have you had to buy 3?
Well, I have 2 docks, so I have 2 of them already, and this is my third one.
Well, that's good. Now you got a third one.
So now I have
to
a
take
travel
with you, so you don't have to unplug it every time.
Yeah, well, that was the idea. I thought it was cool because I'm like, I'm going to bring the Switch anyway. I'm going to bring a charger for the Switch. So all you have to do is just unplug your dock and put it in your bag too, and then you have a system that you just hook up to the TV. All you need to do is just bring an HDMI cable, and you're good to go. But then I realized that it's not that simple. You have to have the specific plug for it for the whatever the powering is happening inside the cradle and all that shit. So that's what you need, I guess. On that note, I guess we'll take a break and get to our Night in the Woods topic.
Let's do it.
All right. So we have Janet back again from our Xenoblade Chronicles episode. Come back again to talk about
hey guys,
that game that we said we bought earlier, Night in the Woods. How you doing, Janet?
Welcome back.
pretty good. Still hating games, so the usual.
Back to talk against it again. No, I didn't think you were totally talking against it last time. But yeah, nice to have you on here again. And I just wanted to have a discussion about Night in the Woods because it's kind of like, both Jeremy and I, we both have it. We played through it. John hasn't gotten it yet, so I guess we'll kind of like talk to see if we can convince John one way or the other. But it wasn't. I had my problems with it too. I felt like it was a flawed game, but fun for the most part. And I'm sure. And I read most of your article. And I think I agreed with a lot of it, but there's just a couple things I just wanted to talk about on here. But yeah, I liked it for the most part, but it was no means like a game of the year for me or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
did you want to do like a title for this cast, like is it worth it, or one of those clickbait kind of titles, like should you buy it?
I mean, I don't care. We can if you want to.
You won't believe what Night in the Woods has to offer.
After 4 minutes of this game, you won't believe what I found.
Is May truly a piece of shit? You'll find out on the show.
Is May dead the whole time? What?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good.
Yeah, those fan theories. Everybody's dead. She's dead. Link's dead. No, wait, no, Link was dead. Oh, my God. It's everything. My mind's exploding here. No, yeah.
Are you dead?
I think we're all dead. This is our dead cast. We changed it. Dead domain.
Nice.
So, what do you guys want to start with here on the? I guess we could just go through the premise of the game. The game's not very long. Like I did want to comment on that I did actually beat the game in a few days. So I think that says a lot for me because even like a lot of games are pretty long. And I know we talked about that last time, Janet, but it's kind of hard to get through a lot of them. And I was actually, it was one of the few that I actually beat. Which I thought was funny because like my top 10 list of games that I said were like my favorite games of last year, I think I only beat like half of them, maybe, if even that. So it's like at least I got through this one. So
me too. I actually beat it all in a day, which
wow.
Some people were like, "That's why you didn't like it. You played it too fast."
I can understand.
Possible.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can understand having problems with it in a day. Honestly,
all the flaws get magnified when you like marathon stuff, I think.
Yeah. Well, like the Chapter 2 was like probably, and I'm sure you thought that too, like was probably like the draggiest part of the whole game. And that was like, and I did that all in one day, and I was like, oh God, like I can't play this anymore. And I was just kind of like, I didn't even finish it. I was just like, all right, I'm done. And it was right at the end of Chapter 2. But yeah, playing it in one thing, I can imagine being like crazy. But yeah, it's
the first game I've beat on Switch where I've never taken it off of, like it was the only game that was playing. Like I never took it out of sleep mode, so I never saw the title screen again until I beat it.
Oh, yeah.
Does that mean you loved it?
That means I was committed to finishing it. Once Trey told me I could, he's like, you'll finish it in 8 hours. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to finish it. So like yesterday, I played it for like 4 or 5 hours straight to finish it up.
Yeah, I did like a recording thing for YouTube, and I was like, I'll just, because Jess and I like went on vacation for a couple days, and I was like, I can finish this before we go. So I was like trying to get through it and all that. But I think towards the back half it gets a lot easier to play. But yeah, it's basically the idea is this cat character. It's like a person, but looks like a cat. Comes back from college because college didn't work out or whatever, and she hopes that her life will go back to normal now, I guess, since she dropped out of school. That's like basically the premise of it. And she's like 20, right? Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, she's really young. And she's like basically just running from her problems. That's kind of the whole point of the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
She thinks she can escape her problems by going to a new location, and then thinks those problems will be left at her other spot when she comes back home again.
Sure. Oh, yeah, she thinks it's going to be whatever it was before. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she can't really face it, which is kind of like how it ends too, where it's like, oh, we'll just try to be normal, I guess. But there are a lot of, like, the premise of it, I think, like, is what I really liked about it. Like the whole like shitty town, like we all, I'm sure, I know you do, Jeremy, and I do have like a shitty town that we're from, that when you come back and nobody's really done anything,
down to the band practices in the game. This is like me going home like for a couple of years there. When I moved back to my hometown, like seriously, there was band practice. There was like my friends that had like gotten real jobs, and I was still kind of like lost. And yeah, I felt I identified with this game a lot.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, I mean, it wasn't like as bad as I was, but it kind of reminded me of like being out of college, sort of, in Chicago, and just constantly just not knowing what to do. But my path was way worse because I just like drank all the time at bars, because I didn't have anything else to do, that type of thing. And I kind of like, I mean, I almost wanted the game to be even like worse, like more brutal. I wanted the time to actually move slowly, like it does, like when you're depressed and you have nothing to do, and you're like at your parents' house, and and you sleep till whatever, and then you can't sleep, so you got to stay up till like 4 or 5. Like, I kind of wish that they would have mixed a little bit of that in there, like the actual time, instead of her just, going to bed whenever you want to after whatever thing that you did. I don't know. Did any of you guys play Persona by chance? Because this game reminds me a lot of Persona, minus the RPG stuff. Like just,
I play a little bit
just
of
the
Persona
appointments.
5, whatever the newest one is, but I never finished it.
Yeah,
I haven't.
Because I played Persona 4. Like, I played like 30 hours of that, and this game reminds me of Persona 4. Except for if you took out all the like dungeons and all the leveling up and all the fighting, you basically get this game, because that's what you do there. Because in that one, you have to go to school, you can do extracurricular activities, you can go hang out with your friends, you can get a job, but you can only do like so much, and then you end up back at your house, and then you have to go to bed. You can either like read a book for a little bit and then go to bed, but it's like same sort of exact timing thing, where you only have so much time to do whatever. But do you want to get into our likes and dislikes of it then, since we set up the presence or the premise?
Yeah. Yeah, though I think one quick thing to add in terms of describing the game, well, obviously it's kind of implied, but it's like a adventure visual novel, basically. It's like super story driven, and it has like one thing that's kind of interesting is like it has like the narrative of like coming back home and like the angst of being in like this kind of in between stage in your life where nothing's really happening, and then also like the like mysterious murder that happened early in the game. Like there's like that weird dual narrative going on where it's like kind of supernatural, spooky murder mystery type thing in the background of the angst.
Yeah, they kind of want to have, there has to be some sort of story in there, right? Which, where there's some sort of murder mystery-ish thing, which is also like Persona. They do the same thing in that, where it's like there's a, has to be some sort of supernatural, or that more like crime, whatever, in there. I was going to say, some people call it a walking simulator, and I would totally agree with that, because there's a lot of walking. And I don't know how you guys played it, but I basically jumped all the time because I thought it made me walk a little bit quicker, because I felt like she moved incredibly slow.
Yeah, it was fun to bounce like on the houses and stuff, so yeah I would jump around a bunch.
Because she does.
I would say like at least it was appropriate. It was a cat. Like you're a cat that's running along the power lines, like jumping and climbing on everything made sense. Contextually, at least in that regard.
There's also regular cats in there too. So how does that work? Is it like Goofy and Pluto?
Yeah, I took a
like
few
one
screenshots of that. I was like, "What the fuck? Am I like a bobcat? Am I like a savannah? Like am I some sort of like giant wildcat? And these are domesticated cats? What's up with this?"
I don't know. I think I made a comment about that in my YouTube video too, where I was like, "Oh, hey, there's a cat, but it's like a cat. It's not a."
Maybe they're actually all just furries. They're not even. Yeah, humanoid cats.
could be. Yeah,
don't give away the ending.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
That's what the thumbnail should be.
At the end, it's just Splatoon 2.
Yeah. In the end, they just decide to squirt each other with ink. That'd be an interesting ending. It just turns into a different game.
It's actually the prequel to Splatoon 1.
Yeah, everything was 2D before the world ended. Because Splatoon is like post-apocalyptic, right? Like everybody's dead, pretty much.
Oh, totally.
Except for squid people. Yeah.
So the game, the likes and dislikes, right?
Yeah. I like that she can do a triple jump like Mario. That's what I wanted to say. That's why I jumped around a lot, because the third one you jump higher, and it made me feel like I was moving faster, especially on certain parts of the game because she's slow. You know.
The only time you hear her voice too at the third jump.
Oh yeah. So I know that I read like from your article. I know you said that a lot of it was, like I was saying, was like slow and kind of dull at parts.
Yeah.
Right? And I agree with some of that. Like I said, I felt like the second chapter, which is just like you just going to like whoever's store and going and doing a thing and then going home and going to sleep, like that, I felt like that part really dragged. So like that was probably my biggest dislike of the game, was that part, because I had a really hard time towards the end of it when nothing was really happening, nothing of the like big supernatural story or whatever. I was kind of like, I don't know how many more days I can do, like days, like game days, you know, that I can do this before I have to turn the game off, because I felt like it was kind of just starting to wear on me. You know, it's like, oh, this is pretty tedious. You know. Yeah,
and for me, it made the objective a little unclear.
Sure.
I do like, there are some things I really like about the game, like some of the details in it and the way that it's designed. I think some of the design choices are really smart. Like, I love that in like your room, in May's room, she has her laptop, and on there, there's that, what is that game called? Dungeon?
Something?
Tower?
Demon Tower.
Demon Tower? Yeah.
Demon Tower, yeah.
Demon Tower. Yeah, so there's like that game, but then there's also like kind of your to-do list on there. And I just think that's like really like well ingrained. Same thing how with the pause menu being your diary with your little like message from your therapist or little thing you wrote down. So like stuff like that helped kind of move things along, but there were definitely parts of the game where, and I'm one of those people that like within semi-reason, like I try to do everything when it's like a walking sim or a visual novel. I'm like, let me open all the drawers, let me talk to everybody.
Yeah.
But after a while, I'm just like during that, I assume it was chapter 2. I can't really remember the chapters as well, but like when they divide. But I'm just like, okay, I'm kind of doing everything, but it kind of didn't come off as satisfying as it normally does to me. I think just because like it was so much of like the same people in the same stores, and like I think the monotony was done on purpose, but as a game, it didn't feel worthwhile, because I don't think everything in games needs to be necessarily enjoyable or fun, but I didn't feel like I was enriched by that aspect of the narrative. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I thought that maybe they were trying to like have you feel like how much it drags to be in that town, and that's why I said like they could make it more torturous and like make you wait, wait the minutes and the hours and all that. But I felt the same way on that it did kind of get like sort of, especially because I was like trying to feed the rats. Like, did you do that where you get the food and you get to the rats and all that?
I don't know. I don't think I completed that quest, but I was feeding them for some time.
I think
feed the rats.
I think
they live inside the broken piñata or something.
Yeah,
like an old. It's like an old.
It's a balloon, I think, from a parade, right? Like a Macy's Day parade type thing.
I'm like doing charades right now on camera, but like it's from like a festival or parade thing they have, like an old hollowed out. It's like the big character, but without any of like the decorative stuff on the outside as much. It's like kind of hollowed out.
She calls them the miracle babies that are in there. The rats that like they came from nowhere and they were just born inside of this duck thing. You never found the rats?
No.
Oh, well now you got something to go back and play. Well, maybe. I mean, I played it till you couldn't feed them anymore, so I don't know if that's as far as you could go or not. Let me ask you this, though. Did any of you guys open the safe?
Yes.
You did?
I don't think so.
It was in the crawl space. Like, you have to...
I did.
Like, you talk to your dad about it, and he has to move the boxes.
Oh, maybe. What's in there? I don't remember.
I don't know. I didn't get in there. I was going to ask. Well, I mean, I was going to say, like... spoilers on this. It's a 6-hour game. Play it and come back. Or listen to this and then play.
Did you get into the safe, Trey?
No, I didn't get in the safe.
Oh well, I didn't get the rats, but I got into the fucking safe. So
yeah,
I'm good. Yeah.
I just want to know, how did you get in there? What did you use?
I got the password to the safe, or the combination to the safe.
Oh, maybe I did get in there. What's in there though?
It's your tooth, right?
It's a tooth.
Oh, I think I might have gotten that, but I don't remember.
Oh,
yeah. Do you remember the microfilm?
The microfiche at the
maybe
library?
When you go into the library and you're looking at all the microfilm?
Yeah, you're looking for the ghost stories.
Did you do that?
Yeah.
There's a story in there about basically about a tooth. So just go read that story. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, because I read all of the stories in the microfiche thing, and I didn't. I guess because I had already read all the ghost ones, they were just like, I'm not interested in this one. Whenever, because I would still click on all of them to see if anything happened.
That was actually my favorite part in a weird way, because I wasn't even playing the game, but I was getting all the lore together, and that whole microfiche, or whatever they call it, section, you can basically get a whole history of the town up until that point in time. But it doesn't really intersect the story in a playable way. You just learn the story more. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I learned about that, and I totally knew because I had already opened the safe when I found the microfiche. So I found out what I had based on that, and that was how that went. But I never found this pinata you're talking about.
Well, whenever the construction, there's a construction that gets finished or whatever, and your mom says don't jump on the power lines, and I obviously this is what I think in games. You say don't do it, I'll go do it. So I went straight to the power lines and jumped around, and then I found there's a window that you can open, and when you go in there, you find this old the old parade balloon, and there's rats inside of it that you can feed, and you can steal pretzels from that pierogi guy in the old subway.
Oh,
area.
it finally lets you steal them.
Yeah, you can steal them from there for the rats to a point, and basically, I mean, spoilers. They just leave the duck is all that happens. That one was kind of disappointing too. That's all that happens when you feed the rats and they multiply, and then they leave and they're outside of the building now. And B says later that she has a rat problem because it's above her building, so they have a rat problem in her store after that. But that's about all that happens with that. But yeah, no, I mean there's not a whole lot of. Aside from the regular story, there's really not a whole lot to get in there. When you're talking about trying to finish the whole thing, I didn't feel aside from getting, because I guess you could get different endings depending on who you hang out with more, right? Between Greg or B. But I mean,
it's never.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, it's never really a puzzle game.
Well, there's not really a whole lot for you to figure out in it. You can't.
No, and you're always getting pushed forward because time is moving on.
So I get the walking simulator comparison because you can't get killed. You can't really. I didn't really find there was anything that I was confused about aside from the safe. I didn't figure out how to do that. But but then I still the game was over, and after the game's over, you can't come back. It's already new game.
Yeah, it starts new.
Which kind of sucks.
How would it compare to something like Monkey Island? You're trying to get items and figure out what goes where. I mean.
It's not really
like that at all.
Not really. No.
Yeah.
Not really.
It's not Strong
it's more
Bad or
it's all narrative based, I would say.
Or Day of the Tentacle or stuff like that.
Yeah, it's through your conversations, right, that you progress the story.
Yeah, it's a 2D. It's 2D. You walk back and forth and you talk to people and you can go and only in certain places, and it kind of goes from there.
Contemporary game like Oxenfree.
I didn't play Oxenfree.
That's a walking simulator too.
Yeah.
For sure, but I think that had more choice-based stuff in it.
Yeah, I think Oxenfree was a lot more choice-based and a lot more diverse in its endings. I'm not even sure if I knew that Night in the Woods had multiple endings. I'm pretty sure those endings are the differences are kind of negligible, as opposed to Oxenfree, the differences are very big. I also feel like Oxenfree is more supernaturals in the forefront, growing up, and coming of age is in the background of the supernatural. Yeah. Here it's coming of age, but slightly older is in the front, and the weird murder is very much in the backdrop, which is kind of narratively awkward. I feel like they're always kind of trying to play both worlds, too. And I think it's not always successfully done, in my opinion. Other differences, Oxenfree is... I feel like the gameplay is a lot more consistent in Oxenfree. There's still not a lot of quote-unquote traditional gameplay in terms of you're doing action as the player and not just selecting dialogue. Oxenfree's only action is winding the music box, or sometimes you have even though it's still just choosing dialogue, I feel like the puzzles with the quasi ghosts are more gamey than anything you'll encounter in Night in the Woods. But Night in the Woods has a bigger variety of gameplay, but in my opinion, only a few of them are interesting or done in a way that excites me as a player. So I love the rhythm games they have in there when you're playing with your band.
Yeah, I like that.
the game within the game is cool. Demon Tower, that's fun. But other ones that I didn't like as much, there's like a shoplifting mini game, which I found super unrealistic for how you actually shoplift.
Oh yeah,
like you just grab and go. But
you like hold it.
Thing where, like,
you hold it right above your pocket, and they don't know.
Yeah, kind of. But it was
right. So you'd have it close to your pocket and just stop moving.
Yeah, like someone's eyes would like move like in almost like clockwise, like periodically, and you'd have to like move at the right time. But like your hand would be like over the item, and then you're like, oh, but if I freeze, they don't see me. It's like, what? That's so unrealistic. I know it's just a game about
even
cat,
to the point where it's like,
sure.
But even to the point where you're about to like put it in your pocket and you freeze with the hand about to go in your pocket,
cool.
and they don't notice. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, that's just kind of how it works. But yeah, no, it's not realistic at all. But
it was just a mini game.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. But I mean, yeah, we didn't say anything about the Guitar Hero type stuff in there, which I did really like that. But well, like,
I did too.
Well, like, I don't know if you guys found this too, but when I was trying to do it, I'm like, I really like the Die Anywhere Else song. I think that's awesome. And I think that's a total, like, you know, amazing, like, emo, depressed song that I totally would have listened to, like, in my early 20s. And I like it now too, you know, especially, you know, from being from a small town and, you know, having to die, like, where you grew up I think is a depressing thing to me. But, you know, and I like that song, but I played that song and then I went home and I practiced it a bunch till I got good at it. And then I came back and then we played a different song and that I was like, oh, and then like every time it was a different song. So I thought that was funny. That kind of caught me off guard.
The very last song that I had to play at band practice, I was really bad. It was, I was not ready for it.
Yeah, it's tough.
And
And at the very end, when you like when they're like, let's have another practice together,
and you don't play a song at the end.
Yeah, you don't play any songs. Like I was hoping that you would play a song and the credits would go.
Disappointed.
Yeah,
there too.
But but I wanted to get at when you're talking about like the coming of age stuff in your article, Janet. You mentioned that that you said that it was cliche, right? The main character, like kind of what they were going for with the compared to other, like I don't play a whole lot of games like this, so it didn't necessarily seem cliche to me. But can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, wouldn't say it's necessarily cliche in the scheme of other narrative games or walking sims, of which I haven't played too many. Like I've basically only done like Oxenfree, Life is Strange, a few other visual novels, like One Night Dance Simulator, which is an awesome game by Lucy Blundell. So I've done a couple here and there, but I just felt like it was really like cliche / over the top. Like the goal was to make May into like kind of this like shit show person, but I feel like she's too extreme to the point where I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't be around this person, don't want to be around this person. Like it's just so extremely like whack. Like there are ways to be like drifting and still be like have some redeeming qualities, but I felt like they kind of really overdid it with May. Like she's, she dropped out of college, she doesn't have a job, she's theoretically unemployed it's hard to judge time in the game, but it goes from like, probably a couple months or whatever, where she's just kind of like hanging out. But she's like kind of a jerk to her parents, who are like super supportive of her on a couple levels. Like they are putting her up. They like presumably pay for her therapy sessions and all these other things. So I kind of feel like it's very like, it very, very much feels like the Catcher in the Rye of video games, which some people are like, yes. And I'm like, God, no.
I see that.
Similar reasons. It's like, it's just like so overdone that I'm like, oh, I just don't vibe with this character or feel like it doesn't feel relatable as a coming of age story to me because it's so contrived. Which I think, is dependent a little bit on experience, but also I'm like, okay, I don't know who's dropping out of college, being a douche to their parents, shoplifting at like a bootleg Hot Topic, and also like doing all these other things. Like it just seemed like kind of really, really overdone. And I liked all the other characters so much more. Like, I think they're a lot more nuanced, but they're still flawed. So I think that's really cool. And I'm like, well, why, like, if we have all these dynamic characters, we have like B, where she's, kind of standoffish and hard, but also has gone through a lot. And then we have like other characters that have their own traumas and issues they deal with. And those are a lot more nuanced and interesting. And then we have May, who's just like big, like bratty archetype. And I'm like, why? Like, there's so many other cool characters.
I mean, Greg's kind of like that too, to be honest.
I mean, Greg is the bad influence, and B's like the more grounded one, is what I got between the two of them.
Yeah.
But
I found Greg just to be really like weirdly immature, but like in a goofy way. Like it was, I don't know. I feel like it's his own thing.
I mean, he wants a knife fight. I mean, that's
like, what was with when the knife fight happened? I knew I was done with the game.
Yeah. Well, Greg, he says that like What Greg says, it made me think that like that him and May, that they all kind of used to cause trouble when they were younger, because when May comes back, he's like, I have this like new energy to go like fuck shit up again, like because we used to is what I got from it, you know. Because he's like, let's go do crimes, let's go break the law, like we used to like fuck shit up in high school, you know. That's kind of what I got from him, because he's like the, you know, leather jacket destroyer guy or whatever. And we didn't even mention, there's a complete side note on that. I really like that there's a openly homosexual couple in there, and they never really mentioned that's weird or anything at all. It's like just straight in there. I do like that.
It's there.
Yeah,
cool.
For Greg and
they're the only couple besides
for Greg and
May's
Angus.
parents, really.
Yeah,
I think so.
and May goes for a girl at a party too, which I thought was cool.
Yeah,
so,
May's
so gay,
May as well,
yeah,
or queer to some extent
as well.
I mean, she was into her ex. Like, she told him he was a cute boy and that cute boys suck. But I really did like her drunken meltdown. Like, I know
the drunken meltdown was good.
Where she puked,
but I thought it was played, and I liked how she got really dark with it, and like, but still was funny, even though she was like meltdown drunk.
My favorite
like that
thing
reminded me
a lot
of like indie films and shit I've seen over time.
Oh sure, yeah. I think that's part of it, that everything is kind of like is supposed to have like a comedic side to it, like dark comedy stuff, you know.
One thing that I thought was really cool about her drunken meltdown, it wasn't necessarily like the fact that she had it, but it was the way it was presented in the game, because like you have these dialogue choices, and the choices could be like, this is just totally made up. It'd be something like, you know, oh, what's wrong with you? And it'd be like, I don't know, I'm just really stressed out, you know, coming home is really hard, blah, blah. Or your choice would be something like, you know, to be honest, I just don't want to talk about it right now. I just need to relax, like something kind of more complex. And then whichever one you clicked on, what you actually said was like incoherent nonsense because you're wasted.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was so smart, because it really replicated what being wasted is, where you're like, I want to communicate this thing, but I'm just going to like throw out words. They don't make a whole lot of sense, and they're really incoherent and awkward. And I thought that was really smart. So yeah, there are a few times where I think the game mechanics really serve well to create the feeling that the player should have. But I think more often than not, those things don't work together. But when they work together, it's very brilliant and well done. But I feel like those moments are few and far between. Like the high points are very high in this game, but a lot of it's kind of low for me, or middle. But the ending of the game is like amazing. It's like one of the best moments I've seen. It almost makes it worth playing, in my opinion.
Yeah, there
not fully, but almost does.
Yeah, there were a couple parts that just like really like had me, like I was like almost tears, you know, like the part, I don't know if you guys got to the part where you go to like the graveyard with Angus, right? Or no, it's not the graveyard, or the cliff or whatever, where you look at the stars. No, the one where you go with Angus and you look at the stars and he talks about how his parents like beat him up and all that, and like how he's
I
a
didn't
person
get that
now.
part.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Because that part almost had me like, I
picked B because she hated me and I thought I had to like repair my friendship, so I like kept hanging out with her.
Because I actually tried to do it. I tried to do both. Like I tried to alternate between Greg and B, but then I had ended up being that I was friends with B more, I guess, because the part where, you know, we said spoilers for the whole thing. When May gets shot by the bad guys or whatever they are. Whoever you turn into there is supposedly the one that you hung out with the most. Like you can either be Greg or B for that.
I was
part.
definitely B.
So that's what I heard for the different, different sides of it. But I kind of went back and forth between them because I tried to like, it's the same way I did it with Persona. I tried to like hang out with everybody.
Well, Greg kept telling me
times.
like he was having date night with Angus. I was like,
oh yeah,
and that too.
Yeah. But when you get, after you look at the microfiche stuff, there's like 3 different places you can go with Angus, Greg, or B. And if you
and I started in order, yeah,
and I went with Angus first, and that's where you go and you draw these.
I should have done him or Greg first.
Yeah, you draw these constellations in the stars, and you talk about all these like mythical creatures and stuff. And I really like that part, and I thought that part was really cool. Like they have like a heart to heart, and then there's that crazy ghost thing in the back, and that's like the first time I saw that, you know. That part and the end part where she like types them like the letter to like all her friends, like at the very end before they do the band part. That part was amazing. That part really had me like, I was like, that was really cool.
That really reminded me of way back in the day.
What of does it remind you of
AOL Instant Messenger?
Oh yeah. I mean, that would have been like Jeremy and I. We wrote a movie that we never shot in college called Sadness Tour 2001. But that was like, that's probably something.
Awesome.
That's probably something that I had in that, and I actually have the script. If anybody has time to kill or whatever, you can read it. But it's a.
You guys should act it out on the podcast.
Yeah, right. Maybe, I don't know, but I feel like the ending would be something like that, because there is a whole part where like, we talk about whatever melodramatic shit we were talking about at the time then. But it's very much like that part, but not written as well at all. But it did remind me of that, But I really liked it. It had a good ending to it. But I mean, would either of you guys go back to play it again? Now that you've finished it? I know that Janet wouldn't, but would you?
I mean, I didn't know there was more with Greg. I mean, I was hoping there was more with Angus. Angus seemed really cool. He's the guy I wanted to hang out with.
Yeah.
The most. All the the friend characters, but I chose B just because we used to be friends, and then I couldn't figure out why May would forget that her mom died. That didn't make any sense.
Yeah,
that's shitty.
That was fucking with my head. That was fucking with my head. So that's why I kept hanging out with her specifically, because I thought maybe that's what I needed to do to repair my friendship and figure out what was missing in my brain.
Explain that one though. There's a character who forgets that her mom dies.
Maybe she was
no, she forgets that her best friend's mom dies.
Yeah.
Because she stops hanging out with her best friend for some random reason, which I think is tied to the violence on the person on the softball field or whatever. But
yeah, that part, that was another.
She stopped being friends with B then, and then doesn't remember that her mom dies. They still go to high school together.
Mm. Yeah, it made it sound like they had some time apart, while she died or something. I don't know. That part was kind of unbelievable.
Well, because at the very beginning, she kicks her out of the cab. You remember that, right? Or kicks her out of the car.
Well, yeah. Well, after the because
she's like, your parents are going to be so mad if I throw up in here, and she's just like, get out. That's all she says.
Oh,
and then later on, you find out, oh wait, why don't you remember that my mom died? It's a double. It's two different times that comes up.
Yeah,
and that's never explained why she doesn't remember why her ex-best friend's mom died. And that was really fucking with my head the whole game. I'm like, what? That's why I chose B every time to hang out with.
Because you felt bad that you couldn't that she couldn't remember. Yeah, what her mom. Well, yeah, that her mom.
One
died.
thing that bothered me in terms of plot, especially, and this is kind of just assuming, but most people come home for college, and May definitely strikes me as someone that comes home for college because unless her parents pay for her dorm over the summer. Mm-hmm. But she's a sophomore or something when she drops out. It's just supposed to be her second year, but she drops out.
And she's gone through a whole year.
Yeah, so she's gone, came for the summer, went back to school, and then by September she's like, you know what? Nah, F this, I can't do it anymore.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Too much stuff going on. But she acts like she's seeing everyone for the first time from being away from college.
Yeah.
But I'm like, didn't you already see them? I don't understand.
Oh yeah, I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
I thought that she was.
I didn't think about that till so much later in the game.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. I was under the impression that she was only there for a half a semester or something, and she got freaked out and decided she didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't know that if she had been there for a whole year and a half, it's yeah, what were you doing over the summer?
Fall.
Yeah.
So she drops out quarter one of year 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I was like, wait, you
what did she do that whole summer before? Yeah.
It's not been that long, yeah.
She had summer school.
Strike me as the internship type. Or maybe she does, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And I had a hard time with the thing with baseball, and I didn't feel like she gave a really good reason for why she dropped out of college, I guess. And I didn't think that her beating the shit out of a dude with a baseball.
She never gave a good reason for that.
Just because he turned into polygons or something. That was what? No, I had problems with that too, where I was like, I don't think that's a good reason, and I don't think you're really giving a compelling reason to practically almost kill somebody with a baseball bat.
There's a common use of swinging a bat in the mini games stuff. So it goes back to that, in recollection or whatever in her brain or her memories, but she never mentions coming to peace with that person. She just seems to hate that people can't get over it.
Yeah, that makes her seem really bad.
Why haven't they gotten over that thing that happened in high school? When you find out what it was, it's a pretty fucking big deal.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like she practically killed the dude.
There's a baseball bat involved. Yeah. It wasn't like she punched him.
Yeah.
Sorry, spoilers. Damn it.
Well, we said that at the beginning. It's a spoiler. I'll put it in the notes too. They'll figure it out. But
but that's pretty fucking intense, right? Wouldn't you expect your town to remember that happening?
Yeah, right. I mean, especially her parents, because they talk about did she had an incident, but I didn't know it was like that. But I mean, did you find that her that her explanation of it was made sense? Janet, did you think?
It was all right, but I also feel and I don't know, there's a lot of ways to portray mental illness, and violence can be a component of mental illness for sure, but it also just felt kind of I guess that also felt like cliched to me. It's like, oh, the person with mental health problems, like, is just super messed up. Like, you know, they're violent and they're like a dropout and they don't have a job. It's like, you know, and that's why I like Bee so much as a character. She's like, she's like the less yuppie version of May, where it's like, oh, I have drama too. I have my dead mom, but then the day I have to punch into work because I'm not a piece of garbage, you know? Like, and it's just like,
oh, I fucking love Bee. Bee's my favorite.
She's great.
Well, Bee's like the Rock.
I love her outfit. I want, like, it's weird because I kind of hate this game, but I like a lot of little parts of it. So like, I want her outfit. Her outfit's so cute.
You want the Ankh, the Egyptian symbol and all that? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. She's awesome. I want her to she should have her own game. Like, I don't care about May. I don't want to be this person.
Nights in the Woods 2, Bee's story.
You can have a flawed lead character. I'm like, yeah, but they're annoying and bad, like, and not well written to me, or as nuanced. I think it's better to make a nuanced character than just a character that I absolutely hate. Like, I can dislike you and have you be complex. Like,
strictly polarizing or nuanced, right?
Yeah. So I thought it was too much on that end.
I like how Bee smoked everywhere and nobody seemed to care. Like, I enjoyed that.
Well, she had a fake cigarette.
I thought it was a real cigarette.
You find out it was a fake.
Oh, well, man, I didn't get anything from this game, apparently.
Yeah,
well, when she was outside, it was. But when she was inside, it was a fake cigarette.
Oh. I think she was just vaping the whole game.
Yeah, I guess I missed all this stuff. You know, I was just like, oh, yeah, you're badass. You smoke wherever you want. You know, nobody cares. I think she had one.
I was like super into her. Like, she was like, that's why I hung out with her all the time. I'm like, this character's awesome. Like, I wanted to know more about her. So I just like hung out with her the whole time.
I liked when, and I like actually.
She vaped.
I know that
she's a vapor.
I know that in your article you said that you didn't like the part when they went to that second party at the college, Janet.
Yeah,
and I like that part because I felt like she was defending Bee, sort of like that was kind of like. Well, I felt like she was saying, like, she was trying to be like, you know, well, Bee's real. Like, she has a real job. She's not in college like this guy that's doing poli-sci or whatever. I mean, she was obviously being like an awkward 20-year-old and trying to make her friend look good, but also embarrass her at the same time. But yeah, that part.
She just didn't like that guy, and she was like, you can't hook up with this dude. I fucking hate him. Like, she was being a total just jerk at that point.
Is that what you thought it was?
Even if it was for the best. If she had the best intentions, she was still kind of being a jerk right there.
Yeah. No, I felt like that was just her character, though, that she's just a jerk. I don't know. In my early 20s, like, I was pretty shitty, so I could kind of relate to May.
Maybe that's what bothers me, too, about this game. I'm like, this is not the experience, like, as someone in their... Well, I'm, like, leaving early 20s, like, at this point. But they're like, oh, this is so my 20s. And I'm like, this is not my 20s. Like, I have to pay my gas bill. Like, let's get it. It's real life.
Sure, yeah.
But I just wish it was more nuanced, I think, and less, like, honestly, this game strikes me as very, like, which is a very controversial thing that I would not bring up on NBC because the group would lose their mind, but it's very, like, white and Midwest to me.
Oh, sure. Like, yeah, no, I think that's part of it.
It's super white Midwest.
No, I think that's part of it.
Yeah. Too much.
That's why we recognize
too far.
So well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll do Life is Strange, and that game is also very white. Like, it's a private art school. Like, it's a very white game.
Sure.
But yeah, this one felt like almost like a caricature of that, like the most extreme. It was more than just like Natty Light in some parking lot. It was like knife fight in the woods and like just random weird stuff that I thought was even too far for it being a contrived like white narrative game, which a lot of narrative games end up being. Like, I don't know, it's just kind of a thing of the genre for some reason. At least the popular ones.
Yeah. Yeah, May doesn't, I mean, I guess May doesn't really have to like, I mean, she doesn't really like punish much for what she does, you know, she doesn't really have to like atone
like
for
her aunt is the cop, that's how she gets out of everything.
Yeah, so
like,
she doesn't.
Yeah, and she's like,
anything that happens.
I'm like, you're not for the people. Like, can you not? Like, ugh.
Yeah, there's not really any redemption for her, I guess. She's just like, she doesn't have to face any of the shit that she does. Like, she didn't really have to do anything about beating that guy with the bat, you know? It didn't seem like, I mean, aside from going to therapy, you know? I don't know, I would think that would be like some straitjacket stuff or something, I don't know, at some point. But yeah, she doesn't really, and that's kind of the way it ends, is like, you know, where she's like, we're just gonna like have a band practice and everything's gonna kind of stay the same, and that's gonna be okay. And then we'll
figure everything out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna like report it to the police the next day, right? Is that sort of how the game ends? Like, yeah.
Let's talk.
We're just gonna have band practice tonight, and then we're gonna talk to the cops tomorrow.
Let's talk about that ending, which I kind of thought that was cliched. Like, I kind of called that before it even happened. I was like, oh, this is going to be like Hot Fuzz, where they have the group and there's like the secret cult, like, and they're trying to help the town, you know, like where they find all the guys in the robes and all that in the mine. Like that kind of was super
Oh,
predictable.
I love
I
that
still
part.
could-
But
I still couldn't tell if that was real. Like the game leaves you wondering, like, is it real?
Oh, really? I thought it was real. Maybe I'm too deep
Yeah,
into the narration.
it's definitely real. They all the characters acknowledge it, and they
But if
even,
they
like,
all die,
acknowledge the death of the. Which I always thought the guy, like on the when you open up your laptop, there's the icon at the very bottom. That's the guy that's dead. That's the guy who was the drummer in your band that's gone missing.
the shark thing or whatever it was, the thing that like makes noises when you click it, the one that's like
No. So you've got at the top you've got B, then you got Greg, then you got Angus, and then the fourth one is the guy who used to be the drummer in your band, Casey, who went missing last summer.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Casey.
So like the whole game, I was expecting, towards the end of the game that I would flash and I would get a notification from it, but I never did, and I was so sad about that.
It never said anything to you.
I love the shark
because
thing
you
you can
find
click
out-
in the game.
Yeah, he was like, "Arr!"
I
Yeah.
clicked it probably like for most of the 7-hour playthrough, like one of the hours, which is clicking the little thing.
Well, did you guys die? Like, because you can die for like 10 minutes or whatever as May in one of
Never
your.
died.
Like, if
I
you
don't think I
did, you do the thing where you pull the battery out of the car with Greg?
Never did that.
No.
I don't know if I did either.
Oh well, spoilers. When you try to pull the car battery out, it shocks you and you die for like 5 minutes. And that
What
shark
happens when you're dead?
and that shark thing talks to you. The weird thing that you click in the bottom that makes the weird noises. It talks to you while you're dead, and then you come.
All right, I have to play it again.
And then you come back to
Yeah,
life.
it's cool. It's got a lot
Yeah.
of avenues I didn't notice the first
And
time.
then you come back to
so-
life, and Greg tells tells you that you were or May says like I was dead for a while or something. Like she gets knocked out, and it's funny because there's like really no right way to do that. Like you're trying to like disconnect the battery, and basically you have to like in order to progress you have to shock yourself. And like same thing like with the if you remember like the doorbell thing, like where you have to shock yourself on that too. I guess that's sort of a precursor to the car battery. But yeah, that was a cool like secret thing. When you die, that shark thing talks to you and says that you're dead or whatever and lets you know. So there is cool like extra stuff to find if you're into it. Did you guys play any of the extra DLC? There's like actual free extra DLC story stuff on the Switch one.
I tried it out. I didn't really understand what was happening.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a constellation game, and it had something to do with the tones of the stars I was clicking.
Yeah, I didn't get that far. I played it before I had beaten the whole thing, so I was like, I just noticed it was in there, and then I just kind of like quit in the middle because I was like, oh, I want to finish the game and get to it, but I never got back to that.
Yeah, I didn't play it at all because I played this game via my PS4, like it was one of the free games for a month, so I played it there.
Oh, nice! You got it for free.
Yeah.
Hey, you didn't even have to pay for it.
No,
I
I
had to
didn't.
pay
I
for
didn't.
Yeah, but do you regret paying for it, Jeremy?
So nice. Do I regret paying for it?
Yeah.
No. It was
Yeah.
nice. It was like Celeste wasn't like killing my spirit anymore.
Well, you said it was like the direct opposite of Celeste because Celeste,
Yeah.
even though I would say that Celeste is the better game, but it's also
Oh,
like the
Celeste
more
is way better.
the more difficult of the two games. And if you're like, I haven't gotten through Celeste because some of it kind of frustrates me, so I have to take a break, because I'll just die too much and I'll be like, kind of like, I need a minute. I need to go play something else. But if you compare both, because last week, like Jeremy played through Celeste pretty much like about in the same time, like in 8 hours. So I understand it being like a really good contrast to that. We don't have to worry about dying constantly and like pixel perfect jumping and all that stuff.
But I think Celeste had a more redeeming story, for sure, like the narrative, if there was a narrative to compare directly. Celeste had a more, like, uplifting narrative. This one, Night in the Woods, or Into the Woods, I keep calling it
Night in the Woods.
It kind of leaves you where it starts you.
Yeah.
You're just a fallible human character, and shit happens around you, and you just learn to adapt.
Time
Right?
is a flat circle. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that. Well, I mean, maybe if they ever did it's like, are they going to get in trouble for like killing like these 10 people that are in the mine or whatever that was down there? Like nobody
Well, they
noticed that
leave
like
you wondering.
that their parents didn't come home or whatever that night. It's like it was weird. I
mean,
don't know.
I'm surprised there are even that
definitely-
many people in the town, to be honest.
Yeah, right.
It's just a small town. No one noticed these 10 people gone?
Well, you're only seeing one side of the street at all times.
Oh yeah, there's a whole nother half, right?
Yeah, it's that other. So when you cross the street, it's where all the murderers
Yeah.
are. All the cold
Always.
They should
There's
do.
another dude on top of the roof that's about to fall down on the other side of the street.
See, I want DLC where you're in the cult.
Oh yeah, so you
That's
can see
cool.
you can see where it all started and all that, and why
download.
Yeah, your job is to start the cult and like run it and facilitate it.
Yeah, it's like the management sim or something.
Yeah, cult simulator. That's
you have to make sure that everybody's going out and doing what they're doing.
PowerPoint presentation.
Something like that.
Or Google Slides, you know.
Did you guys get to the garbage island? Did you go there too? Like the garbage boat?
No. You were like playing a whole other game.
You were, man.
I did everything I did was I guess you missed some. You can like find this guy in a boat like in the subway and he'll take you to all these different garbage places and you find stuff. And it goes in your room, like it becomes decoration in your room, which is really cool. And you find an axe, and I thought were supposed to use the axe to break the safe, but I didn't. I couldn't take it out of the room, so that's why I was confused on that part. But yeah, I don't know. It was fun to me. I mean, it seemed like a flawed but fun game, I guess. In the end,
I would agree.
You know,
I think like one thing we haven't mentioned, or maybe we have sarcastically, but the art style is good.
Yeah,
I think it's.
It looks like it reminds me a little bit of like I used to want to play Loco Robo. I think it's what's called on PSP.
Oh yeah, Loco Robo's dope.
I remember seeing that game and being like, I would love to play that, but I don't want to buy a PSP just to play this one game. This looks like that. It's like, and then of course like Paper Mario and stuff.
Mm.
But this is more like more just like the contrast based, construction paper design. I like it.
Yeah, I think it looks good.
For sure. I mean, we've been going for almost 50 minutes here. Is there anything? I know we've kind of like jumped around about different stuff, but is there anything that I'm missing about the game, or any like final thoughts that you guys want to say on it as a whole? What are your thoughts, Sean? From hearing all our different, we haven't really heard much for you. Like what have you decided from?
Yeah, sorry to overwhelm you with my opinion on the game.
Yeah.
But no, it just sounds like something that I would be interested in playing. I love walking simulators or adventure games or whatever you want to call them. And I did see the trailer, so it piqued my interest visually. Looks fantastic. How much is it, by the way? Maybe that will play a factor.
It's $20, so that might be a little high.
I don't think I would do it for $20.
Yeah,
maybe $15.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure
it's right on the verge.
I'm sure it'll go on sale or something. I was just so intrigued by it because, like I said, a lot of like, guys people that I read, like that we were talking about like game of the year and all this stuff, and that's why I like wanted to check it out. Plus, I can totally relate to the depressed Nowheresville town and all that. And I was like, but it wasn't. It was kind of like it wasn't as good as I guess I thought it would be in the end. But it is like definitely totally like white privilege game, and May and she doesn't have to like. She's not punished for any of the things that she does, which is unfortunate.
She's really not.
Like no redemption.
Even when she's talking to her mom,
she doesn't
she
really
has
learn
an
anything.
argument with her mother at one point, and like the resolution ends up being like, "Hey, I'm your mom. Sorry, we had that argument. We don't need to talk about it anymore."
Yeah,
like it's like you're not a real adult. Like I'm just your mom. I'm sorry I said that shit to you.
Yeah,
like you don't ever get the point. Like you don't ever get the. I'm sorry. Like the impression that May has grown up. She just gets through it by floating along. So that's kind of sad. I really hope she would grow, but it doesn't seem that way.
Well, maybe we'll have a Night in the Woods of later years where May's like older and maybe has a job. like the Final Fantasy version where it's like 30 years later and everybody's older.
Day in the Woods. I guess that's what it would be.
Day in the Woods, yeah. They could just keep going in time like the Romero
Day
movies.
Shift in the Woods.
Day in the Woods.
That sounds terrible. Yeah, I'm definitely in the minority here for feelings towards the game. I do think it's one of those games that, like, if people like it, and obviously a lot of people do, I wouldn't necessarily, like, fight them on it, because I can see why people would like it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it just doesn't really do it for me. There's too many, like, little things that aren't really working, both in terms of, like, the narrative being constructed in a really fluid way, and also in, like, the gameplay helping drive the story in a way that feels fulfilling to me, which is very hard to do, I think, in narrative games. And there's always those people that are like, it's not even a game, you're just reading a book. And I'm like, it's not what it is. That's not true. Yeah. It's just objectively not true. But yeah, I still think there's some really good high points there and some things that are cool. So I still don't recommend it, because I think there are also just so many better narrative-driven games if you want a narrative-driven game or a walking sim. But yeah, I don't hate it as much as I hate other games, but I definitely don't like it.
You don't recommend it based on the price point, right? Like if it was cheaper, you would recommend it maybe?
I honestly still wouldn't recommend it, only because I don't like it, and I don't think it's holistically, I don't think it's good.
Okay.
I think there are good parts. And I could understand why someone would like it. Like there are some games
So
where
a
I'm like, I don't understand
game.
why you like it. Yeah. I still wouldn't get it because I don't think it's good.
Okay.
Like, yeah, just only because I mean, it's nicer if it's cheaper because then there's less risk. But yeah, it's but it's interesting because it's like the things that are good are really good. So I would be okay with someone buying it. Like I wouldn't necessarily say like just because I don't like it means no one should buy it. But I would recommend maybe looking at what some of the criticisms are, depending. But honestly, a game like this, you kind of have to just roll the dice because like you can't really look at criticisms of a narrative-driven game because there'll probably be narrative-based criticisms, and then you're kind of ruining parts of it for yourself. Yeah. So, yeah, it's definitely not flawed enough for me to be like, God, don't buy it. Like, it's not Until Dawn, but it's not something I enjoy.
I mean, it's not
generally.
like it's not like Skyrim or anything like that, which I would tell nobody to buy. But people still buy that game, you know.
Really?
Like that.
That's 12 times the price.
No, I have my own hatred for that, but we don't need to get it. I didn't even play Skyrim. I played Oblivion, but that one was bad enough.
I haven't played Skyrim yet, and I was planning on it.
Oh well, no, I mean that's a $60 game. That's why I would be like, no, don't, you know.
Or get it on your computer.
Yeah, or get it for cheaper. I don't know, but yeah, it's yeah. I mean, it's I would for a game like that, it's really hard to recommend it. I guess it's kind of like I don't know. I mean, if you kind of like quirky, dark, humorish stuff, I'd say try it out for people.
I think if you just finish Celeste and you're like, God damn it, I don't want to be playing Celeste anymore. Get this game.
If you want to try something way easier, right?
Yeah, it's so much easier.
Yeah, no hard feelings on Skyrim. If you want to play Skyrim, you should play Skyrim. But you should look up. There was an article that IGN did that said like, here are the things that need to be fixed for the next Elder Scrolls game / Skyrim, whatever. Go read that, and if those things that are in there are things that you don't want to play, don't get it. is what I say. That's why I didn't get it, because the list of everything that was on there was all the stuff that I hated from Oblivion, which I thought was total bullshit. So that's why I didn't get Skyrim, because I'm like, all right, I'm gonna hate this game too, because all this shit is also wrong. So that's my advice on that one. Plus, that one's like $60, so it's 3 times the price of, or like 60 times the price, because you got it through PlayStation Plus, which is cool. You know, that's always a good way to get it. Cool. All right. Well, I know I don't want to keep you too late here, but thanks for being on again, Janet. And,
yeah, this was fun.
What is you wrote the article that you wrote on this is on Nerd Much, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll put a link to it in the details for the episode. Is there anything you want to plug before we go here that you're working on?
Yeah, I have some quick things. One thing is my Twitter, which is at GameOnysus. That's GameOnysus. Funny enough, I've actually written about Night in the Woods in total 3 times.
Oh wow!
Like one for Nerd Much, one for an old site, Bit Cultures, and one for my blog. So it gives you a lot to think about. I am intrigued. It's intriguing. It's intriguingly flawed. It's enough that I could get some stories out of it. So there's something there for sure. The other thing I want to plug is I just had an article actually go up on Kotaku.com, which is super exciting.
Oh, nice!
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's my grandiose quest to play FIFA's most underappreciated teams, I think is the wording of the article. That's pinned on my Twitter, so check that out. I talk about these elaborate FIFA tournaments I do with my brother, where we like pick a country or a theme, and then we like have music that matches it, and then we like have drinks that match it, and it's really elaborate and nerdy. So even if you don't vibe with FIFA or sports sims, I think that anyone can appreciate the lengths we go to enjoy a game from a different angle, which I think all of us have done to some extent. So yeah, check that out. I'm really excited about it, and I worked really hard on getting it to its final stages. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, definitely. I know like absolutely nothing about FIFA. Like I think the last FIFA I played was FIFA 64 on N64, because there wasn't much games to play then. But
also a good game.
Yeah.
FIFA 95 on Game Gear for me.
Nice.
What was the last one you played? Yeah. But yeah, no, that sounds cool. I like that stuff, like when you do like the extra theme, or like, you know, is it just like less well-known teams and just stuff based around all that? Yeah, no, I mean that's definitely cool. Yeah, I'd like to read that, and everyone check that out for sure. I'll put links to it and all that on the details for the episode.
Cool.
If you can look at that. All right, cool. This has been our episode 107, right? So it's 107, right? You guys are on the show all the time, you know, right?
Yeah, we're 107.
Sure.
This has been episode 107 of NintenDomain. We're your hosts. I'm Trey Johnson.
Jeremy Kowski.
John Knitter.
And our guest?
Janet Garcia.
And, you can find us at NintenDomainPodcast.com. We have a YouTube channel, Fingmaters, YouTube/Fingmater. You can find my Night in the Woods videos on there as well. And Janet has one also, YouTube Game Onasis.
Mm-hmm. So
YouTube/Game Onasis, you can find it as well. And, if you like either of our YouTubes, feel free to, like it and subscribe and comment and all that stuff. And, same with the show, review the show on iTunes if you get it on that, and just send us an email. We have NintenDomainPodcast@gmail.com. You can email us there. And, I have a stream every Thursday and Sunday on Twitch. So, around 3:00 you can tune in, and I always play a new Switch game every Thursday and a retro game on Sunday. So you can tune in and watch me play for a couple hours. I always put it up on YouTube afterwards, so you can check it there if you missed it on Twitch. Anyway, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
See you.
Bye.
Dust on this tired old streets. Mark corners where we used to play. Dust trace our tired old feet. Circles as we pace our time away. I just wanna die anywhere else. If only I could die anywhere else. So come with me, let's die anywhere else. Anywhere, just not here. Stuck on this dead end street, where all the new kids come to play. Stuck where the past and future meets. Watching all our autumns drift away. I just wanna die anywhere else. If only I could die anywhere else. So come with me, let's die anywhere else. Anywhere.
Be safe.
I didn't mean to scare anybody.
I don't know what floor you're on, but don't be jumping off anything. Just because May can do it doesn't mean that you can do it.